Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by DirtTrackDigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on Dirt Track Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your hosts, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to the 31st Lap, episode number 197 on deck. Hopefully going to be catching up with Tyler Siri here in just a few minutes. I haven't heard anything back. There he is. That's pretty fortunate. Hang on just one second here. Hey, Tyler. Hey, not too bad. Let me call you back on the other line real quick, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just... Nope, that's not what we're going to do. We'll deal with the rough start right out of the box with episode number 197. And we'll get Tyler on the line here momentarily. Going to be talking with Tyler a little bit about the rough weekend over there at Outlaw Speedway. I know they've made some changes. They had a couple team meetings here this week. Hey, Tyler. Can you hear us okay?
Yep.
All right, great. There's Tyler Siri jumping in. A little bit of a rough go last week. Tyler asked for a little bit of time to sort of chat with the fans. I know there's a couple different topics that I want to hit on with him as well. Tyler, first of all, welcome to the show. Happy to give you a little bit of time. And I know you guys had some team meetings to address some of the things that happened last Friday. If we want to start out, for those that didn't know, let's walk through what happened last Friday, and then we'll get into what you guys have already done to be proactive with it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Sure, man.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough night. With the track, it made a mistake on the track. Crew did getting it too wet, and everybody knows all about that. So, it was a bad deal. It delayed the show for a couple hours, and it was just it wasn't good. So, I was super mad and upset, and for the fans and for the racers, because everybody was there, and the place was packed. You couldn't get another car in the pits, and the grandstands were full, and that's why we're doing the half-off admission this week for the fans, kind of fan appreciation night for everybody that came out to support us, and we're trying to make it right with the fans, and half-off for this week.
So just to sort of recap, Friday's activity, the track was too wet, and what happened was the racing went late into Friday night, and then into early Saturday morning. Racing wrapped up. Probably, if I remember right, it was around 3 o'clock. A couple of features had to be suspended. So what Outlaw Speedway has done is, and correct me where I go awry here, Tyler, is if you have a ticket stub from last Friday, you get half off admission this week.
No, actually, it doesn't matter if you had a stub or not.
Oh, okay.
We're giving everybody that shows up tomorrow half price to get in. So whether you got a stub or not, it doesn't matter if you were here last week or you weren't. Everybody that comes in the gate gets half price on the grandstand side. That's not
too bad of a deal, because the cards have been absolutely packed, and you guys are in the process of rescheduling a couple 3 features now from last week that didn't get in just due to the late hours.
Yeah, actually what we did, a couple different things there. The late model guys, what we did for them is we just gave them all 50 points for show up, and they wanted to do that, and then to split the purse up amongst the 13 drivers, and so they were all good with it. So there's not going to be a makeup feature for those guys.
Okay.
They will be first tomorrow night, though. The makeup 4-cylinder feature from Friday will be first on the card, and then we're going to go right into the late models. But and then the street stocks we'll do the following week. We'll have a double feature for them guys. So, the racers were, they were very supportive, and they understood what happened, and they were fine with coming back and doing double features and stuff, because it got pretty late. It was about 3 o'clock when we got done. So
right.
It was just a bad deal overall, but. We got to pick ourselves back up and, go again. I'm here at the track right now, just doing some track prep and just making sure that everything is 200% for the track for tomorrow.
What is it that happened exactly? Was it just overwatering and you didn't get the heat that you were expecting to in turn dry the track out? Did you get rain or something that came through that changed the track conditions?
I wish I could blame it on the rain. No, it hasn't rained here in a while.
Yeah, I know.
It just flat out, the guys just put too much water on it.
Right.
It's I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but it is what it is.
Sure.
I was here all last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and watering the track and making sure it was perfect. And I left Thursday, and it was awesome. I showed up Friday about 3:00, and it was just it was a mess. So, but I own it. I got to take responsibility for it, and I do. And that's why I'm here again. Been here all week doing it, and I'll be supervising and doing it all day tomorrow. So I just want to assure the fans that it's going to be race ready, and we're going to start at 7:00 for the heats, and I'll last at 6. I mean, my whole thing was, we're starting at 7:00. We're not starting at 7:30, 8:00 to pack the track in, and that was my big thing all winter long, and our first night was Thursday night, and the track was ready, maybe a little too soon, but we started on time and was ready to go, and that's what I was hoping for Friday, and it just didn't happen. So, but I'll make sure from now on that's going to happen. And the tow truck issue, we've got 4 and 5 tow trucks that'll be here tomorrow, so we took care of that issue as well. I know that was terrible. I mean, it took forever to get cars off the racetrack, and so I solved that problem, and got a bunch of extra radios. And we're doing a lot of little things. We had a meeting yesterday, staff meeting last night. They went really well. So we see our issues and our problems, and I'm the first one to admit them, and I'll be the first one to fix them. So,
what was it that you guys focused on in the team meeting?
Basically, we got great guys here. I mean, this place is staffed phenomenally, and there's really the guys that I have working here have been here for a long time, and they know what to do. But we got a couple new people that have a lot of experience as well. So it's just kind of like hang out together. Go over what happened last week and what we think we can do to make things better. And everybody said their pros and cons. And so the meeting went really well. And, we're going to be ready for everybody for tomorrow, for sure.
Not to oversimplify it, but the checks and balance that have been put in place this week, then is it just simply a case of not watering it as much? Did you do anything else in terms of opening the track up, letting maybe the moisture get deeper into it? What's the process track conditions wise at this point?
Well, basically what we do is Tuesday we start watering and just get the track so it's damp, it's got some moisture, and then same thing for Wednesday. We aerated the track tonight, and now we put a bunch more water onto it. And as Friday is more of the you really got to watch what's going on with the water on the track and making sure you're not putting too much in it. And we've got beautiful weather. It's been dry and hot, and so it's easier obviously to control your racetrack when you have those kind of conditions. And so that's how you do it. So tomorrow I'll be here first thing in the morning. We'll evaluate the track conditions, look at the weather, the hourly weather, and see if it's going to be dry and hot. And we'll just add water accordingly and just maintain. Friday's maintain day, and so that's the game plan.
It seems like it makes enough sense. In terms of the aeration of the track, that's something that's usually been it's been pretty standard down there. The guys you have working the track have been doing it for a long time. The goal of aerating the track is not only to dry it out, but also to let the moisture get deeper down into it, and that's what leads you to the bitier surface later on in the night. What does this do in terms of keeping the track smooth with the excess water in it?
Well, last week, obviously, we had to put the grader on the track and get the slime off it, or we weren't going to get the track running. So, this week, it'll be perfect for sure. I'm sitting here right now babysitting this thing, and it's going to be good. So,
The situation from the last 2 weeks with it being dry and hot, big change from your first 3-4 weeks, wasn't it?
What's that, buddy?
Big change from the first 3 or 4 weeks down there. Being that the weather was so dry and hot, it was certainly a change of pace a little bit, having some dry and warm conditions versus fighting Mother Nature the whole time.
Yeah, that's for sure. That was tough the first 3 weeks getting rained out, and then Thursday night we put that show together, and that was a great show for us. And so yeah, it is nice to be able to have some hot, warm weather. Like tomorrow's going to be great, it'll be about 85 and sunny, and so it should be an awesome night for racing.
You touched on the tow truck issue. Are those freelance guys that you see at other tracks, or are those your tow trucks?
Actually, we have a couple of our own.
Okay.
We just got the gentleman from Canandaigua that does a tow over there. He's got a lot of experience, so that's great. So we got him on board, and we've got another gentleman coming on board. So, we'll have the quality staff that we need, and we'll have 5 trucks at our disposal, and so that should take care of those issues for us.
Awesome. Now, I understand that you're under a little bit of pressure this week as well, not just racetrack related.
Yeah, I see that they added a $250 bonus there to see if anybody can beat me, huh?
Yeah. Have you gotten any voicemails or text messages on the fact that you've been able to win the opening 2 weeks at Outlaw?
Yeah, it's been, a lot of people have been, congratulating, and, some of the comments you hear out there were picking on me a little bit about winning the first 2 at my place, but we always run really good here. We got the most wins here last year of anybody, and, we just started out, fast right out of the box. And, we've been, got some great cars every week, and, it's been great for sure.
The bounty change anything? I think you're coming up on the last week of Heads Up. You're going to be getting into the handicapping here before too long.
Yeah, I don't know why my guy Pete wanted to do a bounty. It's only been 2 weeks in a row, but we need to put it out there. So, this is the last week for the redraw. So, it's been great racing. Now, I got to tell you, we got a lot of competition here, and if you look at the guys racing here in the modified division, their championships and their career wins are huge. So it's definitely a fun place to race with the competition that we got here.
Billy Van Pelt looking very strong early in the season. Steve Payne was looking good in the opener. Danny Johnson, if he gets to the checkered flags, nothing against him. He's had some gremlins there plaguing him early this year. He's going to be a factor. You guys have got a pretty good field down there, and the good racing isn't limited just to the modifieds. Top to bottom, the racing's been pretty decent.
It's been awesome. Look at the IMCAs for the series race. 24 cars, and they had a caution before the first lap came out, but they went green to checker, and that was an awesome show. The 4-cylinders, 3 stocks, all the divisions have been awesome racing. It's been 3-wide racing, and you couldn't ask for anything else. And all the classes are full fields plus some. So, it's definitely pretty cool to see the support we're getting from the drivers and the fans. No doubt about it.
What's that secret? To be able to draw the car counts that you have the first couple of weeks, is there anything that you've heard in terms of feedback from the drivers that can offer a correlation as to why they've decided to make Outlaw their home on Fridays?
Well, honestly, I think it's a bunch of things. Everybody loves racing on this track, so that's the big thing. And obviously, we've done so many improvements to it, cleaning it up, and my dedication to making sure this thing is successful, and the purses are great in all the classes, and the stuff we're doing with the fans, and redid all the kitchens, and we've got pretty good food going out the door, and everybody's happy with that. So I think it's a combination of everything that you have to do to be able to be successful in this business.
The sprint cars were in town last weekend. Good racing program there again. what was some of the feedback from those touring guys that are coming back to Outlaw for the first time, and some of the improvements and upgrades that they were met to?
Yeah, everybody was very happy, and I had a lot of people coming up to me all night long and just thanking me for what I'm doing, and what's going on with the track. And once we got the track in, it was awesome. I mean, it was great racing. I mean, the sprint car guys put on a hell of a show. If people sat in the stands that long, I know a lot of people left, but it was a hell of a sprint car show for sure. I think Steve Poirier said that he doesn't really do good over here, and this isn't his favorite track, but he said this was the most fun he's ever had at a racetrack. So, it was that was pretty cool to hear. So, it's just a bummer that the track was overwatered, because it would have been a hell of a show right out of the box, and the fans and racers, and it could have been a pretty cool deal. But like you say, we'll regroup, rebound, and we're here for the long haul. So
United Way working with Outlaw here this weekend. It's the bicycle giveaway as well, on top of offering the double features for the 4-cylinders and half price admission, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we're going to give a boys and girls bike away, half price to get in, $6. Bring your 6-pack of beer, and come on out and join us. We'd love to have everybody back.
Let's run through real quick. You alluded to a couple of different divisions that were in action over the weekend. Tyler, you won the feature event and held off Billy Van Pelt in the process. What were you thinking when Van Pelt actually nosed ahead of you, and then you were able to pretty much match his restart, and that gave you the advantage back?
Yeah, it's always fun racing with Billy. He's a clean racer, and it's a lot of fun racing with him. And it was cool. The cautions kept hurting me because I was trying to get some heat in my tires, but once we got some heat in them, then the thing really took off. But no, it was fun. Billy had an awesome restart on me, and he got the lead. And then we had a caution like a lap or two later, and then I was on the outside, and I got a perfect restart on him. And then after that, we went green for a while and got some heat in the tires, and then I think we had about a half, straightaway win on him at the checkered. So it's exciting to definitely win 2 in a row at your home track for sure.
Home track, it's your track.
Yeah, right.
Alan Johnson coming home 3rd place. Ron Cartwright, Derek Pozziello coming home with top 5s. Mark Smith, he won the ESS feature. Jared Zimbardi was behind him. Steve Poirier, Jason Barney, John Preston picking up a top 5 finish there in the ESS feature. Rob Humphreys, he got his first ever Outlaw Speedway win and his first Supergen Products Grit Racing Sportsman Division victory. He worked through slower traffic to keep his advantage over Donnie Lawson. Donnie Lawson, good showing, was 2nd place. Took a look at the lead a couple times, but he couldn't get past him. Dale Welty behind him. Casey Pavlik, Connor Brown driving up into the top 5. As we talked about with IMCA Modifieds, James Cornell coming away with the win. In that one, it was his first win of 2016. But behind him, it was a battle. Matt Cole, Eddie and Brad Seitz coming across the line behind Matt Cole, and then Jake Maynard in his first start, resulting in a top 5. Steve Perkins, he won the youth feature. So all in all, pretty good racing so far. You've had a couple races now under your belt. You've had a couple weeks to act as promoter, and you obviously had some tough decisions and some not so hard decisions to make through the course of it. What's been the biggest surprise so far working in this new role as track owner and promoter?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I guess everything, really. I mean, it's just a lot of effort, a lot of time. It's just, I don't know, it's exciting. I mean, you got your ups and downs for sure. I mean, we had a lot of momentum going, and, it's, you got to be able to take the good with the bad, and, you're only as good as how you rebound from that. So that's why we're excited to, put our best foot forward for tomorrow night's show, and we want everybody to come out and see what we can do, and because we're with the staff that we have and everything that we're doing over here, there's no reason why we can't be on our A game every night for the fans and for the racers. So we'll have to see everybody come out tomorrow night.
Now, you've got a radio station that's there pretty much every night now, correct?
Yeah, we do. When I did a radio program with one of the stations there, they part of the deal was they were going to come and broadcast live on their AM channel, of the racing activities for the night. So that's been really cool. We've heard a lot of great response from that, and doing a lot of radio advertising and obviously paper, and you got to do all that stuff to get the fans, let them know what you're doing and improvements, and come out and see the track. And so it's definitely it's been a great addition, I think, for the racetrack.
With social media being as popular as it is, you've got opportunities like Facebook and things that can hit so many people so quickly that require virtually no cost. Has your advertising budget come down at this point, or is there still an advantage to advertising in print? Do you try to put most of your effort into social media type stuff? I know you've got a very active Twitter account. Working with Stephen Ovens, you've got a very active outlet on Facebook, and your press release information comes out at a regular clip. You're always seeing something in the inbox about Outlaw Speedway. Is there still an advantage to hitting print media, or can you put more eggs in that social media basket?
No, I think we're doing pretty much all we can do right now. I mean, it is expensive for your radio and your paper and all that stuff, but you definitely need to do it, especially being a new owner, promoter, and, you're trying to show people what you got going on. And, social media with Steve, he's doing a fantastic job with, the Facebook, and Mark Simcock with the website. So, I think you need to do all that stuff. And I don't know if there's ever a point where you've got too much. I think you need all you can get. And, we're pulling people from 4.5 to 5 hours away that came Friday, which I think, obviously your local radio is not helping you there, but, obviously the area auto racing news and your website and stuff like that, I think is a key to draw people, from out of the circle here close by to the track. So, I think you need to do it all, especially right out of the box. So my marketing budget is, it's not getting any cheaper, it's staying the same, but I haven't backed it down yet. Maybe, summertime you could probably start winging things down once people know what you're doing and so forth. But
there's only so many fans that can go to so many tracks on a Friday night, and just like any other promoter, you want all of them to beat yours.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We're going to be catching up with Chad Homan here in just a few minutes to talk a little bit about his late model program. We'll give you a quick rundown on what the activities were here last week. Tyler, I appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us. I think it's pretty stand-up that you're taking full credit for what transpired last Friday, and likewise that you're going to already demonstrate that there's changes in place and making the effort to correct that immediately. All the issues that came up, no less, by dealing with the drivers in terms of running double features, by going out there and picking up 2 extra tow trucks, and then obviously by correcting the track situation. Is there anything else that you wanted to hit on quick before we get out of here? Anybody that you wanted to make mention of?
No, I just want to say, sorry again to all the fans and racers last week, and, we've took care of our problems, and we're ready for you to come back, and so we're excited for tomorrow night to get a show in, and, so appreciate everybody supporting us.
Awesome, Tyler. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on the show. Wish you the best of luck this weekend. Sounds like you're going to have a pretty good weather forecast for it anyway. And, of course, trying to enjoy a little bit of downtime here Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to race Friday, and then we're going to race Saturday and race Sunday. So I don't know how much downtime that's going to be. But
at least racing's relaxing for you, right?
It is. It is nice to show up to the racetrack for sure, and just kick back and watch somebody else do all the work and go racing. So
excellent. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the show and wish you the best here this weekend. Good luck.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
You bet. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
There goes Tyler Siri talking a little bit about the stuff that happened at Outlaw Speedway, and we wish him the best of luck as he gets ready to go racing. Expecting a phone call here momentarily from Chad Homan to talk a little bit about the late models. Before we do that, however, what we'll do is we'll take a look at what happened. Big news was World of Outlaws making another stop at Weedsport Speedway. It was their first stop in a couple of years, if I remember correctly. Donnie Schatz now having won both of the mains held there since the early 90s. He did 1993, I believe, was the last one. So it's been a little bit driving his Tony Stewart car. Logan Schuchart led the first 30 laps. Did pretty well for himself, but got away from there at the end. So Schuchart, who was fighting a loose condition, and the car was going away on him, and once Schatz got ahead of him, he just checked out and couldn't do anything with him at that point. David Gravel coming home with a podium finish there. The World of Outlaws was in action Tuesday night at New Egypt Speedway, making another stop here in the Northeast before they track back down south. Fulton rained out, and they're going to be running this weekend, maybe the 28th, Saturday. It's going to be King Smash and Crash from Demolition Derby. It's a special attraction on that card. You can jump on Fulton Speedway for more. Saturday night, Cody Graham won the Super Modified feature. Got past Joe Gosick on lap 14 before picking up his 5th career Super Modified victory. He had blown up his primary car and crashed in the opener. He was in his father's number 90, and Ray Graham put the number 20 on the side of it, and he picked up a 3.3-second win over Brandon Bellinger and Otto Sitterly. No slouches there in any consideration. Mike Bruce, he had a blown motor last week. He ended up rebounding and coming away with a win in the small block super feature. That was his first win since August of 2014. Cameron Proud was second and left the track as soon as the racing action was over with so that he could catch his prime at Oswego High. Gil Tech Jr. picked up a win over Tim Fuller, winning at his 3rd career feature at Canandaigua Motorsports Park. Kevin Ridley rebounded from a rollover here a couple weeks ago and won by about half a track over James Sweeting in the Sportsman feature. Kelly Hebing picked up a win in the 305s. Eric Carlson was next with David Ferguson behind him in their 20-lap feature. Charles Hartley won the combined stock feature. Blaine Smith was the top pure stock finisher. Chad Homan, he got his 5th career win, won in the late models over Dale Caswell and Frank Gehry Jr. Genesee Speedway, Beamer Gazzardi finally broke through, breaking a winless drought to get a win over Doug Ricotta in the Rush Crate late model feature there. Ricotta was second. Mike Lazowski placing third ahead of TJ Downs and Jimmy Johnson. Phil Bigneri the third won the Sportsman feature. Friday night, Larry White won the modified feature over at Brewerton Speedway. Had to hold off Chuck Bauer and Chad Phelps to do it. Tony Finch won the Sportsman feature. We talked about Outlaw Speedway and what they went through. Spencer held their opening ceremonies. Darrell Lewis Jr. came away with the win in the opener for the modifieds there. Leading wire-to-wire, Kevin Timmerman gave chase, but couldn't get past him. 3 laps to go. Timmerman was left holding an empty bag after he tried to get by Lewis for the win. And in the midst of it, Mike Lady got to 3rd past Amy Catalano. Tommy Catalano was 5th. Mike Hyman won the 4-cylinder feature. And let's see, the 6 cylinders were on the card as well, and I'm missing them. Let's see. Yep. Looks like I don't have that stuff right here in front of me. Spencer's going to have a meet and greet this weekend. Race Champions Modifieds are on the track this Friday June the 3rd for a 75-lap main with the New York Superstocks on the card as well. Fans redeeming the ticket stub from last week. This week, $3 discount there. Danny Johnson won the Bandit Motorsports Canadian Nationals at Cornwall, and Eric Rudolph and Steve Bernard pressured him a little bit. There's Chad right there. Hey, Chad, can I put you in? All right. Got Chad Homan joining us here. Sportsman and Tyler Gavogue won over Steve Morris and Ryan Stabler. Danny O'Brien won the opener at Brockville. And then I wanted to hit on Utica, which also rained out. They've got some stuff going on over there, but I'm not finding my notes on it quickly. Utica Rome, they've got their Memorial Day tradition coming up. Empire Super Sprints are going to make their first visit this weekend. The Victoria 200 was rained out last Sunday along with the Gnome Cup for the Go Nuclear late models. That date has been paired with the Night of Legends, which is a 60-lap, 6,000 to win Race of Champions show. That's already scheduled on the 14th of August. Crate late models have been added to that, so they're going to be able to run twice. So they're going to run the 2 makeup features, the Victoria 200 and the Gnome Cup at 1 o'clock. They're going to clear the gates, reopen them for the Night of Legends card. It's going to be quite the night. More details at uticromespeedway.com on that one. So Chad Homan joining us here on the hotline, hanging out with us for a little bit. I know you were listening in with Tyler Siri. Looks like you've taken pretty well to the late model so far, Chad.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun. We're getting back to having some fun racing, and had some early success here, which has been nice. So, tried to do as much homework as we could, and it seems to be paying off a little bit. So, We still have some work to do getting up to speed with some of these guys on the tour. They're pretty good and pretty quick yet, but I think we'll get there.
How much transfers? I mean, going from the modified, we've asked some other drivers this, Tim McCready, Tim Fuller, a couple of them that jump off the page right away. Vic Coffey, we've talked to him about it as well. What transfers from driving a big block modified at Canandaigua to a late model?
It's the cars drive completely different. The first time I got in the thing on the practice night at Canandaigua, I was like, oh boy, what did I get myself into? And they stand on the right front, which the modifieds don't do as much, and so I guess getting used to that was the biggest issue right off the bat. But I kind of have a setup now for Canandaigua that I have. It's kind of that feel that I've been used to for 10 years running modifieds, and so I kind of feel comfortable with it now there. But unfortunately, that hasn't been translating to some of these other tracks like Utica and stuff like that. But we've been trying stuff, and the setup book is pretty much endless. So each time we go out, we try something a little different, try to learn a little more.
You're in a little bit of a unique situation in that Canandaiga's running the late models every other week. So you've got the chance to go out on a Saturday night, still run your car, try it out at different places, and who knows what you might hit on somewhere else. You're talking about making the trip up to Fulton this Saturday.
Yeah, we're planning on, if everything goes well, going to Fulton this Saturday. And, that was kind of the reason I decided to do this whole deal. As part of it was, the every other week. So kind of the weekly grind of the modified thing was kind of getting to me a little bit. And, that's why this every other week thing, kind of sparked my interest in, get to try a different race car and not be so jammed up all summer, and maybe get to play a little golf here and there. So it's been kind of nice so far. And like I say, on those weeks off, we can go some of these other tracks and kind of dabble and experiment a little bit with no pressure, which is good.
Now, you never did anything with the Sportsman car, right? You went from pro stocks to modifieds?
Yeah, we skipped the Sportsman, went right to the modified, for good or bad, I don't know, but, we made that move, and it worked out in the end, and definitely the steep learning curve going from what I did to the modifieds. But, thankfully this time I think a lot of the modified stuff is porting over, driving-wise. So, obviously the car setups are not, but, there's a feel there that you get used to in the modifieds where, I think that ports over.
Well, there's no replacement for seat time. I mean, you were in the modifieds for 10 years. You got to see a lot of stuff. I remember you got a win. I'm trying to remember. I think it was the BRP tour at maybe Tri-City.
Lernerville. We won the
Lernerville.
Steel City Stampede at Lernerville. And then we won a race at Weedsport, and then the win here at Rolling Wheel. So, we had some pretty good success with that modified. And I guess my only regret is I never did win at Canandaigua with my home track, but. It has been nice getting back to Victory Lane this summer back at Canandaigua again. It's been 11 years since I did that, so it's been pretty fun.
11 years. It's quite the winless streak to break. I mean, what's that feel like? You're coming off turn 4 and you see the checkers waving ahead of you.
It was nice, and just the people I have behind me that have supported me for all these years, especially the last few, that have been kind of dry years, I guess we'll say. So,
sure.
Get some pictures for them and get some Victory Lane photos and keep everybody's confidence up, which is good. And like I say, didn't really expect to come out of the box like we have, but it's a nice surprise. Hopefully the class will build a little bit. We're not getting a ton of car count there at Canandaigua yet, but being new, hopefully it'll build. And it's really fun to drive, and hopefully it'll grow and it'll become a nice class. You're
looking at running the crate engine in this, correct?
Yes, yep. We have a 604 in this car, and surprisingly, being 500 horsepower less than the big block, I was a little bit, I guess, concerned of what they would be like. But the thing is actually pretty snappy and more powerful than I thought it would be. So, surprisingly, looking at some lap times, because the suspension is so good on these late models, we're running pretty comparable lap times to even the modifieds when it slicks off. So,
wow.
They just don't have the bark like the big blocks do, but surprisingly a pretty quick race car.
So given that it doesn't have as much power, but you said it's still just as quick, in my mind when you say that you've got a crate powered race car, that you're going to have more time to react, you're going to have more time inside the cockpit, but it sounds like with running the suspension, these are full-blown late models. The difference is pretty much exclusively the power plant that's in it. You've still got all the bells and whistles that you see on a rocket chassis are the same as what you've got underneath you now, correct?
That's correct, and like I said, these I have found that they are a handful. That's for sure. And one of the biggest other issues I've been fighting here is just the visibility. After you run the modifieds for 10 years where you can see everything, these things are a big, bulky race car where, visibility is at a minimum. So the other night, Dale Caswell pulled beside me, and I didn't know it until he was right beside me. So, just something you got to get used to, I guess. But this 7, they drive really nice, and all 4 tires are the size of the modified right rear tires. So, they've got a lot of grip and some really nice suspension under there. So, they're like I say, they're a handful, but at the same time, they're nice to drive. So, just look forward to get into it every week. So,
having that much additional footprint on it, what does that change in terms of, you hear guys talk about rolling the corner or trying to glide in, or, when you get on a dry slick situation, do you find that it's got more grip? Can you get into logically you could get into the throttle earlier because you're not going to have as much explosive power getting to the ground. How does that set up in approach change when you're trying to get into the corner, having that much more of a footprint?
I've found that you can really drive in quite a bit deeper than the modifieds, and then also pick the gas up sooner. And the whole key with these crates is to keep the momentum up anyway. Mm-hmm. So, it's never really my forte to be running the high side, but I found myself the last 3 weeks at Canandaigua running around the top. So, just keep the momentum up on the thing and, keep it as straight as possible and not do anything too rash. But, like I say, they're a lot more stable in the black slick conditions than the modified, so that makes it kind of nice. And, that plays on the less horsepower as well. So,
what's the aero compare like? You've got so much more downforce on the nose of this thing than you're probably accustomed to running the modified.
The only thing with the modifieds that we found a lot of times is you get so much left rear drive off the corners that wants to push the nose, and we haven't felt that with the late model, and I don't know if that's aero or whatever, but the one thing, trying to get the spoiler angles right and get the nose sucked down to the track without, slamming into the racetrack has been kind of a challenge these first few weeks. And, we had one race at Canandaigua where we could hear on the video where we were just slamming the nose into the ground. So, and of course, that wasn't good. But so trying to, get your shock settings right and keep the nose tied down, but not slam her down the ground. So it's been a challenge, but the guys have been doing it a while know how to do it right off the bat. But we'll get it, and just going to be some experimenting here.
It sounds like the suspension is pretty finicky. Is that accurate?
What was that?
It sounds almost like the suspension in it is finicky. Like you have a very narrow margin for error where you can be outside of the window of being good, but if you adjust, just so much past, you're still on the outside. You've overshot it now. Yeah,
and it's something I found at Utica on Sunday is we took the winning setup from Canandaigua and went to Utica, and it was awful. We just went. We only changed some bars in the back and the Panhard bar for the feature, and the thing came to life. So little changes seem to make a big swing at it, and of course, still trying to understand what everything does. And we went to the 2-day school at Laser, trying to figure everything out. And I came away feeling smarter, but whether then you go to apply it and it gets a little more difficult. But like I said, we're taking a step at a time here and trying to make small adjustments, which seem to be making pretty big swings at it. But we've had some heat races and even a couple features where it was really bad, and then we've had some that have been really good. So just trying to match everything up with our notes to track conditions and keep building on that database.
How is Laser to work with?
Doing great. I actually bought this car with the auction car at the Parts Peddler show.
Okay.
Which I bought a couple weeks after because it didn't auction off at the show. I talked with Jim Bernheisel at the show and told him what my plans were. And they've been great to work with. He's opened us with open arms, or helped, and we went down there for 2 days, went through his seminar, went to an open house. He's been instrumental in, matching us up with the right parts for that race car and the stuff that we were going to need. And, if I had any questions, which I've had some, I guess I would call very newbie questions for being in racing as long as I have. But he obviously didn't care, and he was willing to help. And, been emailing him probably 2-3 times a week on different setup questions and what this is supposed to do, and then we go try it, and I report back to see to him to tell him what I felt. So it's been really nice, and great bunch of people, and couldn't be happier with the move that we made there.
What's your budget like? I mean, you've run the modified for so long, and you're accustomed to the big block budget that it takes to run competitively at Canandaigua, and you've gone out on the road and run competitively on tours as well. So it strikes me that with a crate motor inside the late model, that your budget for this year has got to be reduced, but by how much?
I think it's going to be, not initially, only because we had to build from scratch, and that was kind of, once you get over this initial hurdle, the tires are cheaper, the gas is cheaper. The one thing I will say is not having the overhang of the $40,000 big block that could, potentially blow up and cost you $20,000 on a dime is pretty nice. So,
right.
So to have that overhang gone, not have to worry about that is pretty nice. But, I think over time it is going to be cheaper. And if you want to hear something really crazy, in the first 5 races that I've run, we've been fortunate enough to win 3 times at Canandaigua, but I've brought in more money in the first 5 races doing this than I did in the first 5 races last year running modified. So,
wow.
Which was a little bit of a shocker to me. Granted, there isn't the opportunity to win more, I guess you could say.
Sure.
But we're I think overall the amount bringing back in is going to be pretty close to what I was doing with the modified. So if we can keep that up and then reduce some of the week-to-week costs, that'll work out in the end.
Is your modified still around, or did you sell that off?
I still have it. It's sitting there, and I haven't ruled out a return. Here and there with that. Obviously it's in. The wild thing is I never really expected to do this late model thing. It kind of fell together kind of on a whim. And so the modified was ready to go. Mm-hmm. Still is ready to go. So we just got to, the only thing I stole out of it was the battery in the seat. So we throw that back in and we could be racing again. But for right now I'm content with the late model, and the modified and the motor are both for sale. It's pretty much all I have left. Sold all my spare parts, and that's pretty much what I was able to fund this late model with. But if anybody's looking for a great car, it's for sale. But like I say, if I don't want to, it's tough. It's racing. You don't want to give your stuff away, but at the same point, you don't want to keep it forever. So,
right.
But like I say, if it doesn't sell, you might see it here and there.
So you said this late model thing came together kind of on a whim. Did that tie back to initially the winning the car at the auction? Was that the impetus to look at the late model as an option? I was kind of I was actually talking with Derek Pazziato, believe it or not, and obviously his brother-in-law Clint Boyer has a late model operation. And we had known they were going to start at Canandaigua, and we were him and Han, over. I'm like, geez, that might be a good thing to do, and then the car didn't sell at the auction, right? And so then I called up a few weeks later and was able to buy it. But it's like it was kind of wild. Like I never really expected to do that. We were going to go back modified racing, possibly maybe a smaller schedule. And I knew I was going to back away from the modified, but we're also running go-karts, and like I said, I wanted to free up my summers a little bit, and which leads into the every other week thing. So that right.
Sparked my interest. And next thing you know, we were late model racing. So, my girlfriend Mary Lou, she thought we were kind of getting out, and she jokingly said that my retirement was shorter than Brett Favre's. So.
Right. Yeah, you went from trying to make more time in the summer to buying an extra race car, and now you're talking about jaunting off to Fulton and Utica and Canandaigua. Yeah,
it's funny how that works. You know what I mean? But once
that's
you
racing.
Get this racing bug in your blood, it's hard to get rid of it. But it is nice to know that while we're trying to learn here, we can go racing, and then if we want to take a week off, we can on these weeks that we have off the Canada. But the way the weather's been, everybody's had a week off here and there, so
sure.
It's worked out. But
you talked about opportunity for success being, your percentages are better in the late model versus the modified, but your returns aren't as great. Yet you've already brought in as much money as you had in the first 5 races of running the modifieds last year. Obviously, winning more money, that's certainly a benefit to running any division. You know, if you can win more money, you're going to pay your bills faster. Why? I understand the conversation with Derek and going that way, but why not consider, if you were considering a change, look at the 360, which gives you a lot of opportunities to run at a lot of different tracks. You've got a lot of feedback. You've got the 305s that are running there at the track, and we've heard a lot of the top 360 teams say that they somewhat operate on a budget close to what it is to operating a top tier sportsman car.
Yeah, you know, and I've been around the bunch of guys that my boss actually has a 305 sprint car. You know, we've been around that. I really didn't think that my driving style would fit a sprint car. We've dabbled in the micro sprints, and we did okay with that. I've never been a you know, hang it out high wide on the high side type of driver. You know, I see Chuck Heaven go around there, and I don't think that I could compete doing that. So that's why we kind of went the late model route, back kind of to my roots even as a pro stock driver, and
Sure.
Back when I started. So it seemed like a logical thing to do at the time. But you know, like I say, it's going to help out with the budget. You know, we're back to having fun. It's nice to compete for wins again. That's for sure. You know, and at the same point, pretty happy with everything that we were able to accomplish with the modified as well. So, you know, I'm pretty happy with the transition right now, and you know, I think at this part of my career here, it was the right thing to do.
In terms of getting out to Utica, what are some of the thoughts on running out there?
You know, I really like that racetrack. You know, we ran the first Go Nuclear race out there at Utica, and we quickly learned that we weren't up to speed with what those tour guys are, where they're at. But you know, I feel like we were better this past Sunday before the rain came. You know, I was actually looking forward. The car was going forward, feeling good. I was looking forward to finishing that race, but of course the weather got in the way. But right. Pretty excited to go back there when we go back to finish that race in August. Going to definitely have to put a even slicker setup in it for 1 o'clock start. So, but you know, just kind of nice getting back to travel a little bit. You know, back in 2010 and 11, a little bit of 12, we toured on the BRP modified tour, and that was fun, hitting some different tracks and kind of getting on the road a little bit. So, so I haven't completely decided if I'm going to run the whole Go Nuclear tour this year, but you know, we're definitely going to hit a good portion of the shows, especially the ones around here. So it's nice to kind of expand a little bit and try some different stuff. You tend to get stuck running one night a week, you know, in that weekly grind, and that was doing this. That's one of the things I want to get out of. So you know, hopefully that'll be nice.
You've got a couple tracks that you can hit on a regular basis, but more importantly, the relationship with digtrack.com. Tell us more about DigTrack. They've been on the car for quite some time here, and they've stayed right with you.
Yeah, they've actually, you know, Bob Dressy, he runs the 305 Sprint. He owns Bytronics Incorporated, which their product is digtrack.com. And he's been with me since around 2000, helping out my racing operation, and can't thank him enough for everything he's done. And you know, he definitely kept that modified operation going when it probably should have folded some of those years when we had some motor issues and stuff like that. So you know, he's been an instrumental part of my racing operation for, you know, almost a couple of decades now. So just can't thank him enough. And Mike Welch, the pro stock driver, Masson Parts Plus, they've been on board for quite a few years as well here too. And he was a big part of putting this whole late model together, because you know, I shipped the motor there, I shipped the tires there, and so I think he was getting more shipments for my stuff than you know, maybe even his parts. So you know, just can't thank him enough as well.
What are those conversations like with digtrack.com? I mean, you made reference to it just a little bit ago about the lean years and some of the challenges, and maybe it should have gone under, but you've got a guy that loves racing. He's embedded in it. He's supportive of it. Do you go into those not even concerned about making sure that the support comes back? Are you surprised that the support comes back? What are those exchanges like?
You know, just it's kind of wild. You know, you never know. I guess it's weird because they never really talk about it. You know what I mean? Things just happen, and he recognizes when, especially the modified stuff, when we were in trouble. He always came through for us, which is really nice. So, there was never really a set budget or anything. It's just, he'd help out here and there, and then, definitely came through with some major purchases, which is nice. And, my last year as a modified racing, I was able to run an ERD motor, which I never would have been able to afford. So, he came through with helping us out with that. And, definitely that was, finishing fifth in points last year at Canandaigua. We never would have been able to do that without the equipment we had. So, just like I say, it's kind of a wild thing to do because we never really talked about it. We just kind of just kept going, and things fell into place.
The ERD motor. Tell me more about that one. That was right at the end of last year, right, or end of the year before that you got.
Actually, the end of the year before.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to say that was 2000. I want to say we got the end of 2012. Believe it or not.
Was it?
We came
I'm still
right
trying to
out
get
of
my
the
head
box,
around the fact you ran modifieds for 10
in the
years.
race at Rolling Wheels with that second night out. So
right.
That thing paid dividends right off the bat. And Terry Vince and Carl at ERD, they have a second to none operation up there in Canada, and the motor's been great ever since we got that. So it's still sitting there. I hate to even sell it. It is for sale, but I hate to even sell it. So, like I say, it's been a great piece.
So it's for sale, but you're not actively looking for a buyer?
It's for sale if someone came with the right amount of cash, and but it's not posted anywhere. And
right.
I would be kicking myself if it went down the road, but at the same time, I would do it probably.
I had a question for you. Getting off of your racing a little bit and turning your attention to Charlie Donk. He was at Weedsport on Sunday. How is he doing now?
I actually talked to him yesterday, and I asked him how he was doing, and he says not great, but at the same point, his spirits are high. He's getting around, getting out a little bit now. So they're working with the doctors to try to get some movement back in his right arm. I know that's the biggest holdup right now that he told me. But he was in good spirits, and he said he is, up and around tinkering a little bit, and hopefully he just keeps getting better. That's
good to hear. Good to hear that he's up and around. It's a very, very promising feedback to hear that he's making progress with that. Because what a scary accident that was, and it was. I know a lot of people were praying for him. It's good to hear that progress is being made.
Yeah. Like I say, never good when the fire trucks and stuff roll into the racetrack. So being that he's family and everything, we were pretty concerned. But he's a tough guy, and that definitely beat him up pretty good. That's for darn sure. But I think he'll be fine. Here it's just going to take it's going to be a long road.
I see. Note that we need to come back to real quick is Chad Homan winning the Demolition Derby that Brian Sipple hosted over there at Canandaigua Motorsports Park. You ever get involved in any of those?
What was that?
You ever get involved with the Demolition Derby?
Demolition Derby, I never have, and they just look like they would hurt, and that, I'm not a big fan, but I like to watch them, that's for sure. Yeah. Bob Drusty, who does the digtrack.com in his 305 sprint, he did probably 50 of those back in the day. So
wow.
He always tried to put together the best looking car and then make best hit of show. So that was his, he didn't care if he won; he just wanted to make an impression. So
that's
never wanted to try one. That's for sure. But it looks like it hurts. But kudos to the guys that are crazy enough to go do it.
Some of those nights at Pro Stock could border on it.
Yeah, some of those nights were pretty crazy in those things, that's for sure.
Oh, man. I mentioned it a minute ago. I still can't get my head around. I can't believe it's been 10 years that we were in the modifieds.
Yeah, that seemed to go pretty quick. We did 8 years in the pro stock there. It seemed like it dragged on forever. And then, first thing we're in the modified, next thing is 10 years later. So those 10 years went pretty quick. But, we did have a lot of fun. And, have no regrets, which is a good thing.
Late models, the focus of attention now, getting ready to head off to possibly Fulton Speedway if everything lines up correctly for Saturday, and then Utica Rome most likely on Sunday. Chad, man, it was good catching up with you again and talking about the changeover to the late models. We talked about Mike Welch and Bob Dresty. Is there anybody else that you want to make mention of here before we end the show that helps keep that car out there on the track?
Sure. Those two are, they're the major sponsors, and obviously Jim Bernheisel Laser has been huge. Steve Hendren Engine has been huge as well. Those guys, answer a lot of newbie questions this year, and obviously, I've been working an awful lot of hours, so my parents have been huge, and my dad put a lot of that race car together by himself with a bunch of parts that I ordered, and he put the thing together, so I had the easy part. But then also my girlfriend Mary Lou Stang, she's been a huge help, and between my parents and Mary Lou and myself, we have a small operation, but I'm pretty happy with the success that we've been able to have over the years.
That's awesome. Chad, man, I appreciate you coming on the show and talking with us a little bit about late models. Hopefully some folks got some new appreciation for what it takes to drive those things and put it together, and some of the good folks that are making those cars stay out there on the track at Canandaigua and Utica, and now this weekend we'll see you at Fulton.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Chris.
Chad, man, thanks a lot. We'll see you soon.
Yep.
Good luck this weekend. Work on the golf game over Memorial Day.
All right.
We'll see you later. There goes Chad Homan. Good conversation. I never thought about the footprint thing, about how hard you'll be able to drive those cars into the corner. It was a good conversation with Chad. Looking at the clock, I can't believe we've been doing this for an hour already. A little bit of a rocky start, but I'm glad we were able to talk a little bit with Tyler and then spend some time hanging out with Chad Homan. Awesome episode here, number 197. Pretty much in the books at this point. We're going to get on out of here. Look for this episode possibly to be showing up on FingerLakes1.tv. Finger Lakes Television, the local cable access channel that airs out of Finger Lakes Community College. I got a couple messages that we're appearing on there as well, which is kind of cool. Get out, support your local racetracks. A lot of action to offer you over this Memorial Day weekend. Oswego Speedway is going to be open. Spencer Speedway is open if you like the asphalt stuff. Batavia, Canandaigua, Fulton, Brewerton. Those are always good options too. Utica Rome coming up on Sunday with the ESS Sprint Cars. That's going to do it for this edition of the 31st Lap. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Episode number 197 is in the books. I'm leaving in the morning for Bash for Cash out in Chillicothe, Ohio. We'll be back on the schedule next Thursday. We'll see you then. Thanks a lot.